Topic of the session is employee safety and health management. This is another important function or area under the human resource management. However, this topic is very important for our day-to-day life, in-house or the organization or the educational place or the society. We are talking about health and safety. Health and safety. Here, we are going to focus. We are going to focus employee. Employee mean organizational. Then safety and health terms are discussed considering the employment or organizational context. These are the learning outcome of the session. First one, you have to understand what is the meaning of organization, occupational health, then occupational safety. Then thirdly, you have to understand the importance of occupational health and safety, then occupational accidents, then occupational diseases, then occupational stress. These are the basic things we have to get the idea from this session. First one, definition for health and safety. Then health, as I mentioned earlier, health, the term of health is usually used for our day-to-day life. It means absence of any diseases, no diseases, absence of any diseases, or impairment. Then health means absence of any diseases or impairment. Another idea for the health. Health is a state that allows the individual to adequately cope with all demand of daily life. It is a state, situation, condition. Allow the individual, then individual can to adequately cope with all demand of day-to-day life, daily life. Then if I can do for daily demand, then it means I am healthy. But if I am suffering a diseases or illness or any other thing, then I reject some demand, or I say I can't do today, or sometimes I am doing the work with slowly because of unhealthy. Therefore, the health mean a state that allow the individual to adequately cope with all demand of daily life. Then again implying also the absence of diseases and impairment. The third definition for health. Health is a state, again a condition, situation of balance situation, balance condition, and equilibrium, equilibrium state an individual has established within himself. If you can balance your state, equilibrium of your status, conditions, that is the health, with and between himself and his social and psychological environment. One thing you have to balance, then secondly, you have to balance the interaction with the other social entities and physical entities. Then it is the health. What is the meaning of employee health? Employee health means the health is same, it related to the employee. Employee usually meaning a representative or the member of the organization. Then employee health means health of employees working for an organization. Health of employees working for an organization. Then employee health, there are several alternative terms. One is industrial health, or sometimes we are saying occupational health. The occupational health, industrial health, employee health, same meaning. The health referring to the employees. Health referring to the employees. When we are talking about employee health, then we can find two types of health. Not only the employee, when we are talking about health, we can find two health. First one, physical health. The second one, mental health, mind-oriented health. Body-oriented health and mind-oriented health. Employee physical health. Physical health, employee physical health means health related to human body rather than to human mind or emotion. Then under the physical health, we are talking about the body of employee, body of human. It is bodily well-being of employee.
What is physical health? Physical health is one of the 8 interconnected components of total health and wellness. Physical health refers to the state of your physical body and how well your physical body is operating. Due to the interconnected nature of health, physical health powerfully influences and impacts the other components of health. For example, when you don't sleep well or get enough hours of sleep, your ability to function at work deteriorates, thus influencing your occupational well-being. Another example is the connection between mental and emotional health. How I feel about my physical body greatly impacts my self-esteem and self-confidence, which can lead to low mental health. Like each of the elements of health, it is vitally important that you create physically healthy habits. Habits include living an active lifestyle. This goes beyond working out on a regular basis and connects to being active whenever possible. For example, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Eating and drinking a well-balanced diet, regular physical fitness, and intentional hygiene practices and disease prevention. Overall, strengthening physical health is vital to well-being as the state of our physical body lays the foundation for many aspects of well-being. Now it's time for you to intentionally build physical health by taking this information and creating healthy habits in your own life.
Now, what is the meaning of mental health? Mental health related to human mind and emotions rather than the human body. It is psychological well-being of the employee. Mental health means psychological well-being of the employee.
Mental health is a term used frequently, but have you ever sat down to consider what it means to you? Like physical health, mental health is a continuum. You might have an illness such as depression or anxiety. You may be illness-free, but just be getting by. Or you may be experiencing a high level of well-being, which psychologists refer to as flourishing. Most people move up and down this continuum at different times in their life due to individual habits, external circumstances, or genetic predisposition. We know in Australia about 1 in 5 people each year will move down the continuum to the point they have a diagnosable mental illness. Almost half of all Australians will develop a mental illness in their lifetime. Like physical health, everyone can take positive steps to not only reduce their likelihood of developing an illness, but also optimise their level of well-being. Everyone knows the pillars of good physical health. They include a healthy diet, regular exercise, getting enough good quality sleep, not smoking, and drinking alcohol in moderation. By practicing these positive behaviours, you are likely to experience a high level of physical well-being and be less susceptible to illness and disease. If you were asked, what are the pillars of good mental health? Would you know how to answer? In addition to remaining physically healthy, psychologists have identified 5 pillars of good mental health. These include experiencing positive emotions, participating in activities that fully engage you, enjoying positive relationships with others, having a sense of meaning or purpose, and experiencing satisfaction associated with accomplishment. The better you do in these 5 areas, the greater your mental well-being and quality of life is likely to be. Remember, mental health is a continuum, and like your physical health, you have the power to take positive steps to not only remain free from mental illness, but to flourish. What steps will you take today to optimise your mental health?
In the second term of the main topic, safety. Safety is also important and interesting. Safety refers to protection of the physical health, protection of the physical health of employee. Here, the important thing is protection of the physical health of employee. Then safety of workers refer to the provision of a safe environment, safe equipment, and safe procedures. Safety of workers refer to the provision of a safe environment, safe equipment, safe procedures in the workplace. The workplace, safe environment, safe equipment, safe procedures, safe system in order to ensure workers' health and safety. Then it is a protection of employee health and safety. How? Provision of safe environment, safe equipment, safe procedures. Providing safe environment, safe equipment, safe tools, safe procedures, safe system. Then company ensure workers' health and safety are okay. That is the employee safety. Then we will discuss what is the important, why company bother about occupational health and safety. Here I briefly summarize the importance of occupational health and safety. First one, then if company practicing proper occupational health and safety program, practices, system, then company can prevent illness and injury. For the example, recently our country implement very strict system to protect the protecting of spreading the COVID-19. And therefore, as a result of the strong and tough system, now we can normalize our social day-to-day work because preventing illness and injuries. Then here the COVID-19 preventing the spreading of the illness or diseases. Then first important factor is prevent illness and injury. The second, reduce health and safety hazards. We can reduce health cases, safety cases, number of deaths, number of damages. Then we can avoid serious consequences, loss of worker, loss of finance, loss of machine, damage in machine, loss of building, burning building, we can avoid serious outcome consequences. Then through these three, finally we can attain to gain higher job performance of all workers. The main important thing is through proper occupational health and safety practices, company can gain higher job performance. Then categorizing health and safety hazards. Then there are different categorization of health and safety. Here I use the very simple categorization. What are the categories? First one, occupational accidents. Occupational accidents. Safety. It directly linked to safety. Then occupational diseases. This is highly linked with the health. Then occupational stress. This is also linked with health. Sometimes there is another label, low quality of work life. There is another category. I am not going to talk about the low quality of work life. Then occupational stress. Occupational stress lead into health issues and sometimes safety issues. Then first one, occupational accidents. Occupational accidents. Here I mention several examples for your understanding about the occupational accident. Then you can get awareness about the occupational accident. Example, loss of hearing. You can't hear because of damaging your hearing system. Then loss of eyesight because of damaging your eye system or eyes. Then loss of body part, sometimes cutting your hand, fingers, leg because of accident. Then broken bone as a result of hitting, falling, broken your bones. Then burn, especially if you are working at hot places like stove. Then burning. Then next one is electric shocks. And the final or the significant accident is death. Then loss of hearing, loss of eyesight, loss of body part, broken bones, burn, electric shock, death. Those are examples for occupational accidents. Accident is sudden thing, quick thing, quickly happened. Then as a result of quick incident, there may be outcome like loss of hearing, loss of eyesight, loss of body part, broken bones, or death. Then, considering the nature of the occupational accidents, we can categorize occupational accident as first one, minor accident. The accident is minor, no serious one. The second one, major accidents. Major accident. Then major accident again can be categorized into two. One is fatal accidents. Fatal accidents. Another one is non-fatal accidents. Then non-fatal accidents again can be categorized into two. One is temporary disablement. Second one, permanent disablement. Then temporary disablement can be partial disablement, total disablement, partly disablement, or totally disablement. Then permanent disablement again can be partial disablement or total disablement. Then likewise, we can categorize occupational accidents. Causes of occupational accidents. There are several causes of occupational accident. Then we have to consider what are the source or causes leading to occupational accident. Then first one, causes relating to machine. Causes relating to machine. Then examples are not covering or guarding dangerous part, not cover, not guard, dangerous, serious part. The second one, the machine serious or dangerous part are covered, but it is not properly covered, improperly covered. The third one, machine's defects. Machine's defects. Some machines are running without properly. Properly means some belts are missing, or belts are losing, or belts are not. It is broken. Then different defects. Then not proper repairing. Without repairing or without proper repairing, machines are running. Then it may be a cause to the occupational accidents. The last one, operating machines and very high speed, very high speed. This is another reasons for occupational accidents. Then there may be another reasons. Here I listed these things for your understanding. The second cause of occupational accident, causes relating to human. What are the machines okay, environment is okay, everything are okay, but as a result of human error, there may be occupational accidents. Human causes, there may be occupational accidents. First one, poor health. If you are not fit, then sometimes you are working at the machine. Because of your poor health, there may be accidents. Then lack of training. You are not aware about how to operate in the machines. For example, at the first time you are taking a car, then drive. What will be happen? Lack of training and lack of competencies, no skill. Then you assign or you are assigned to operate the machines without competency, without training. Then monotony. Then you are continuously do the work, operate the machines. Then as a result of continuity, then there may be accidents. Then frustration, your mind is not good. Then at that situation, when you are working at the machine or the place, dangerous place, there may be accidents. The next one, last one is intoxications, drinking alcohol. When you are driving with alcohol, what will be happen? There may be a big possibility to the accidents. Then likewise, if you are working, operating, functioning a machine with the intoxications, what will be happen? There may be a big accidents. Then the third cause of occupational accidents, causes relating to working environment. Working environment. Here I listed several examples. Inappropriate layout. Layout is not properly designed. And the location also leading to accidents, especially layout. The place in the place of equipment, place of machines, walking area, rest area, uh, material moving area, tracks. According to these things, you have to design your factory layout, office layout properly. If it is improper, inappropriate, there may be accidents. The second one, inappropriate ventilation, no ventilations, then it lead to employee accidents. Inadequate space for movement, then your office, your factory, like a fact thing. Everything putting very closely, then there is no space for movement. Then inadequate lighting, lighting system is very dim, no proper lighting, it leading to occupational accidents. Then the last example, tools, equipment not properly arranged, not properly arranged. Then as a result, there may be accidents. Then the last cause of occupational accidents, miscellaneous causes. Miscellaneous causes. What are the miscellaneous causes? Weak housekeeping, no proper housekeeping, no proper cleaning, or no proper repairing. Then weak housekeeping. Then noise is excessive, more noise, big noise. The noise also leading to occupational accidents. Then leaking of electric wire. Then leaking of electric wires, then it lead to electric shock. Then overloading, overloading machine, overloading rack, overloading table, overloading. And the last one, poor supervision. Poor supervision also leading to occupational accidents. The second one, occupational diseases. Occupational diseases. For your understanding, here I listed several examples for occupational diseases. Then the cancer, very popular diseases today, cancer. Then many industrial workers leading to cancer because of their employment, because of their work or their work habit. Then asthma, another occupational diseases, asthma. Then poisoning, especially if you are working in agriculture or chemical places, then poisoning. Skin diseases, eye diseases, eye diseases. The last example, reproductive diseases. Reproductive diseases. These are the example for occupational diseases. Then causes for occupational diseases. What are the causes for occupational diseases? Here I mentioned four methods, four causes: chemical causes, biological causes, physical causes, and psychological causes. Chemical causes, biological causes, physical causes, and psychological causes. Third one, occupational stress. Occupational stress. Then occupational stress is very common subject because you are, as a student, you are suffering stress for the examination or the day-to-day lecture schedules. Then as a lecturers, the teachers, we are also stressing because of different workload. Therefore, stress is common. Stress is common for all the people. Then here I try to explain stress. Like when the need of the individual are not fulfilled and there are obstructions from time to time, then a pressure is built up. This is what we call stress. What is the stress? A pressure. It is a pressure. The pressure is built up. How? Not to fulfill, and their need of the individual are not fulfilled. Need of the individual are not fulfilled, and there are obstructions from time to time. Then they are damaging, making barriers time to time as a inability of doing or fulfilling the demand. Then there is a pressure. Pressure is called as a stress. Then the last statement of this slide, stress has always been a part of human survival. Then stress is a always been a part of human survival. Then occupational stress arises from a lack of fit between a person and his or her environment. Why stress coming? Stress is leading because of lacking the fit between a person and his or her environment. When there is an inability to cope with the demand made, for the example, then your class, there are, we assume 100 students, then 100 students time to time come and ask several questions, then ask several support, then my boss also asks several activities to complete. Then within 1 to 3 hours, then I think how I face for the all these demand, how to deal with these demand. Then if my body and mind is not capable, inability to the demand, then I am going to a situation like stressful situation. Then stress is the body's reaction to a change that require physical, mental, emotional adjustment. It is a body reactions to a change. Body reaction to a change require a physical, mental, emotional adjustment. If there is more demand, several people ask several activities, several help, then how my body try to react all these activities, demands, requests. Then when my body going to react, it require what? How I bodily stable, how I mentally stable, how I emotionally stable. Then require a physical, mental, emotional adjustment or responses. Then there are a big workload. Then I am stressing. I am with the stressful situation. Then you come and ask some question. Then sometimes I am scolding because of stress. Without your situation, without your requirement, without your any background, then I am damaging our relationship because of my stressful situation. Then my body reaction is not prepared for change, or my body reaction need more physical, more mental, more emotional energy because it is difficult to adjust or respond. Now, what are the kind of occupational stress? Then according to this author, there are four categories, four kind of stress. First one, distress. The second one, stress. Third one, hyperstress. The last one, hypostress. Distress, first one. When a stimulus or incident produce a harmful impact, the stimulus or the incident make harmful impact, then individual loses his balance. Then as a result of harmful impact, individual cannot balance his life, his body, his mind, emotions becomes imbalanced. Then it lead to imbalance. Then this imbalancing situation is called as distress. In this state, the individual cannot maintain his balance, equilibrium, cannot maintain equilibrium or balance because of distress. Then the other one, enstress. Enstress is a positive impact. The distress is a negative. Then enstress is a positive. As we have already stated, some stresses are beneficial and produce a positive impact on the individual behavior, individual workers. Beneficial, benefit. Some stress bring benefit or positive impact. What are the example? This enstress, example for interest is like acquiring a new job, occasion of marriage, the new job, then you are pressure, the stressful, but you are happy. Then as a stressful, you start your new job with properly, correctly, appropriately, with energy. Then occasion of marriage, learning a new things. These are experience produce a thrill. Then there is a stress, but the stress brings thrill. That is the reasons for the positive side of stress. Then stress is not always negative concept. Stress is not always negative concept. It some level, some areas, some sources, some situation bring positive thing. Then hyperstress. Then hyperstress means when there are multiple stresses on the individual related to many incidents and which continuously build up, continuously. Every day I have many work, not only 1 day for a week or 2 day or 3 day for a month. No, it is continuously I have more work for every day. Then it affect employee work efficiency level and disturb his equanimity, balance. It is a state of hyperstress. Hyperstress means that huge or the large or the many stresses continuously happening, a big amount of stressful situations. Such a stress even crosses appropriate limit, then you can't tolerate the stress, and the level of stress is quite high. It is high level stress. Now, what is the hypostress? What is the meaning of hypostress? Hypostress is called insufficient stress. Then, first early one, hyperstress means big amount of work, big amount of demand, big amount of activities. Then hypostress means no work, no activity, no demand, insufficient stress. This is then this type of situation leading to laziness of the people, inactive people, no work, no demand. They lack adequate stimulus, no motivation, no motives. They use stimulant like drugs to, then they are prone to use drugs to induce excitement. but this is a low level stress. Then low level stress also leading to bad behavior, or it is significant. Low level stress leading to low performance. High level stress also leading to low performance. Therefore, as a worker, as a human, we have to maintain sufficient level of stress for the performance. For the example, here the stress level, low, high. This is the performance level, low, high. Then the stress behave like this. Low stress level mean low performance. High stress level mean low performance. Then you can gain high performance through moderate stress level. Then here I explain 4 types of stress: distress, enstress, hyperstress, and hypostress. Then these 4 can explain using this picture. Then stress, here the stress. Then harmful effect of stress, explain distress. Example, death of family member, lost something, your lost of your pocket, wallet, bag, computer, laptop, phone. Then illness, example. These are harmful, but beneficial effect, benefits. It is enstress, example, promotion, new job, marriage, exciting work. Those are the sources bring the stress as well as benefits. Then high level stress, hypostress, hyperstress, hyperstress. Example, family workload, many appointments, social workload, excessive office workload. Then all these examples explain the hyperstress. It is high level stress. Then low level stress, hypostress. What are the hypo? Example for hypostress: boring, no work, new place, loneliness. Those are the examples for hypostress.
Watch this. One little piece of paper can have a remarkable effect. Stress is stressful. But if you understand a bit about what it is, you'll be better able to deal with it. First, though, take a few deep breaths. In fact, do that anytime you feel stressed. It helps. Stress is a survival mechanism. When danger appears, it can get you out of trouble quickly. Your body crashes up the gears and throws all its resources into getting you moving. Your heart pumps furiously to increase blood pressure, glucose is sent to the muscles as a fuel injection, and you become totally focused on what psychologists call fight or flight. Thing is, this emergency state is only meant to last just long enough to get you out of danger. But here in the 21st century, we stress about different things, and for much, much longer. Your brain and body stay on red alert, and you'll be less able to think clearly, learn, or remember things. Take a few more deep breaths, because as you now know, stress is a physical reaction, and deep breathing helps to counteract its effects. So, what else can you do? Okay, top tips to reduce stress. First, get plenty of exercise. Let out all that locked up energy. Now, back to the problem. Get in control. Scope out the situation and how you're going to tackle it. Don't stress alone. Talk to someone. Socialize. And have a laugh. You can't laugh and quake with fear at the same time. Get down with nature on a big or small scale. And if your mind won't stop worrying, give it something else to do instead.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Evans, and welcome to this visual lecture answering the question, what is the single most important thing we can do to manage our stress? A few years ago, we moved our family to France for 3 months. It was the time of the European Cup football championships, and so we would take our kids to the local bar to watch the game on TV. Watching the moods of people from different countries swing from pure joy to total anxiety to despair and back again was as entertaining as the game itself. And I wondered if there was any scientific analysis of how this kind of stress affects people. And it turns out there has been a study. In the quarterfinal of the 1996 championships between the French and Dutch teams, a draw at the end of overtime resulted in a sudden death penalty shootout, which was won by the French. When researchers looked back to see if there were health changes on that day, it turned out there was a relative increase in the risk of death from a heart attack by about 50% among the Dutch men on the day of the match compared with the 5 days on either side of the match. There was no such effect on French men, or women from either country for that matter. So this story is striking because it's about one event and really one negative health outcome of stress. But in reality, stress is very complex, multiple factors and multiple outcomes. The physiologist sees stress as increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in the chemicals that modulate the immune system. The social worker sees vulnerability with compromised social networks, coping, and problem-solving skills. The doctor sees increased visits. It's estimated that up to 70% of primary care visits are stress-related. Worse health outcomes, bad self-treatment with alcohol and drugs, gateways to depression and anxiety, and of course a worse quality of life. These perspectives represent the standard negative picture of stress, but I believe we also see a positive side to stress. Athletes who are able to find a stress level that is high, but not too high for optimum performance. Executives or mothers or aid workers who manage stress like a bicycle tire. They regulate enough pressure to keep rolling, but not too much so that if they hit a bump, they explode. And to me, this is really the most interesting question when we look at stress and health. How do some people undergoing intense stress remain healthy and even thrive, and what makes them stress resistant? Well, I think the answer is big and includes factors like how much control people feel they have in their lives, their social network, and I mean that in the old sense of the word, openness to change, attitudes like optimism, self-care skills such as exercising and humor, and so on. Research on mental health shows that we have sort of bento boxed more severe mental health issues and tried to figure out what works and what doesn't, which is great, but we have done much less research on the most common problem, stress, and when it is studied, it's usually in the context of other diseases. So based on the current literature, my pick for the single most effective treatment for managing stress is actually kind of a simple one. Change your thinking style. Most people think stress is something that happens to us, like a piece of steel on a bridge that is constantly being stressed and then eventually snaps. This is the physical model, but it's actually not the human model. The difference is that stress passes through a 2-pound piece of tissue on the top of your face called your brain. So we say things like, my job is stressful, or my friend Sylvia is stressing me out. But in fact, we create the stress in our brains. Your work or Sylvia isn't stressful. It's your thinking that brings the stress. Your brain is a volume dial that can turn the stress up, but I think it can also turn it down. People think we are born with certain attitudes and a thinking style, but the truth is stress management is a skill that can be learned. Dr. Mats Gullikson and his colleagues in Uppsala, Sweden, published a trial in 2011 in the Annals of Internal Medicine, following over 400 people, mostly women, who had had significant heart events such as a heart attack or bypass surgery. Half the group received usual care, and the other half got usual care plus cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. CBT has become an umbrella term where you learn practical techniques such as problem solving, relaxation, and challenging common thinking traps. So for example, a negative filter. So 5 people say, great job, and 1 says nothing, and you think you blew it. Fortune telling. I'm not going to that job interview. They'll just reject me. Mind reading. A friend walks by you without noticing, and you assume he dislikes you now. Polarizing or black and white thinking. I failed my diet by eating that piece of cake. Now I might as well eat the whole thing. And so on. And a thought record is then used to reframe your automatic thinking into more healthy thinking. As the American psychologist William James said over 100 years ago, the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. So the researchers wanted to see if people could use these techniques to reduce the daily experience of stress, time urgency, and hostility. And if so, did that lead to better outcomes? So not a drug, not a diet, not a stent, just changing the way you think. The participants were followed for over 7 years. Those that got the CBT had a 41% reduction in heart attacks and a 28% lower death rate. The more CBT sessions the person attended, the better they did. Now, another way to change your thinking style in order to reduce stress is through the use of mindfulness techniques. Mindfulness used to be more for what I would call the kumbaya crowd, but programs have actually become much more mainstream. In fact, my patients who have heart attacks or have chronic diseases now often take a mindfulness course as part of their treatment, and there's a growing evidence about its effectiveness. A recent trial following clinically depressed patients by Dr. Zindel Segal and colleagues from the University of Toronto is a good example. When the patients experienced remission, they were randomized to an antidepressant or a placebo or mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. The results showed that mindfulness was as protective against relapse as the medications. My sense is that the success of mindfulness is due partly to the fact that it combines many useful techniques for stress reduction, such as increased self-awareness, involving a physical component like breathing or muscle relaxation, meditation, and perhaps most importantly in our busy world, an emphasis on letting go of distractions and being in the moment. Mindfulness can give us the ability to let go of worry and not get trapped in the anxious loops. Perhaps less about changing the thought and really more about choosing where to place your attention. As the famous Austrian psychiatrist Viktor Frankl pointed out, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And I think mindfulness teaches us awareness of that space and that we have the power of choice. So another factor that the research tells us impacts your thinking style is your attitude, your outlook on life. Dr. Suzanne Cabas and her colleagues from the University of Chicago looked at this by following a natural experiment in the 1980s breakup of the Ma Bell telephone company. They followed who coped well and who didn't, and identified 3 key traits of those that coped well. The first notion was commitment. The stress-resistant executives were committed to different aspects of their lives. So even while facing uncertainty, they stayed committed to quality work, engaging with family and friends, their communities, their faith, their hobbies. They saw, and I think were committed to, the bigger picture of success, and this allowed them to weather the turbulence in a specific area of their lives. The second notion was control. And this is interesting in that because of restructuring, these executives actually had little control. In fact, you might say their skill in fighting stress was more about being able to let go of control. They could see that the sands were shifting, and if they were too rigid in their control of a territory or a department, they might actually lose the bigger opportunity or even their job. Other psychological research is focused on what we call locus of control or self-efficacy, which is really the extent to which individuals believe they can control events that affect them, and their competence or ability to make change. The executives may have understood that a lot of what was happening was out of their control, but they could adapt and I think even choose and feel competent about what they could control. The third notion was change. The stress-resistant execs were able to limit their self-importance and see the change happening around them as a potential stepping stone, not a stumbling block. So as we come to the end of our story about what reduces stress, it might be helpful to know that the research has shown that simply writing out a stress story can make a big difference. The act of giving coherence and I think creating your own personal narrative to stressful events in a letter can be an effective way of negating the stress of those events. The classic therapeutic letter writing exercise is writing a letter to somebody who stresses you out and then not posting it. Finally, I'd like to leave you with this advice to improve your thinking style. Think basics. When I play tennis and things are going badly, which is often the case, I forget about everything else and say, move your feet, watch the ball. That's it. When things are stressful, sometimes you need to keep it simple. Say to yourself, I will keep a regular sleep routine. I will avoid eating crap. I will walk. I will mingle. And I think there's some early evidence for altruism or doing good. As Abe Lincoln said, when I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. And that is my religion. And I'm often reminded about the power of simplicity from a lesson one of my patients taught me. I did deliver bad news to him, and when I did, he kind of shrugged his shoulder and said, I'll be okay. I follow the 90-10 rule. 10% of how we do in life is based on what happens to us, and 90% is how we respond. I think the same may be true of stress. So take a deep breath. Think about your big picture of commitment, your sense of control, your openness to change. Consider doing some homework on yourself. Reframe your thinking. Redirect your attention. Maybe write a letter. Repeatedly, the evidence shows that if people manage their stress well, they have better health outcomes for virtually any disease they may suffer from. And remember, the challenges will always be out there. That's life. But remember, too, that your thoughts and your attitude are the key holders for the stress you experience. Not the traffic, not your boss, not your job, not your neighbor, but you. And something you can improve, your thinking. Hope this helps. Thanks for listening.